Hey everyone, welcome to this week's guitar workshop, this week's live stream. Good to see you guys. Just a reminder that if you have any questions about anything that I'm going over, go ahead and put it in the chat box and I'll try and address it and we can see what you guys want to work on or if you have any questions about what I'm going over. And if you're watching this on a replay, you can put your comments or maybe your questions about what was in the video. You put those in the comment section and I'll check them out and address it in a future live stream. Today we're going to be going over, let's get here, we're going to be going over how to use hammer-ons, pull-offs, and string bends, some of the main guitar techniques on guitar, especially on electric guitar. And we're going to use those techniques to play a melody, to make a melody more interesting. So, so first what I want to show you is how to kind of find a melody within a scale, in a scale shape, and then we'll look at how to take that melody and then use string bends and hammer-ons and pull-offs in order to kind of make it more interesting. And then we'll take a look at doing that on some melodies from some different songs. So let's start with the E minor pentatonic. Doing here a little bit. Okay, so you just got your E minor pentatonic. Okay, and let me just check something real quick here. There we go. Okay. All right. So in your E minor pentatonic, if you just had a little melody that's something like da, 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 that's it. So if we have da, 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 so what you could do is have a melody, see if you can find it in the pentatonic scale, or it might be a major or minor scale, but a lot of songs will be in the pentatonic. But see if you can find what key it's in first. So see if you can find the root note. That's the first thing. So first you want to listen for where's the root note. So in that little melody, da 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 da, that's the root note. A lot of times this ending note is the root note, and if it's not, you just want to listen for which note feels like it's the home bass note. And the more you learn about keys and scales, you'll be able to hear the home bass note. So like in this scale, that's the home bass note, or that's the root note, or the tonic. It's called too, the root note there. So you're listening for it to find that. And then if you can find that, then you know what scale to use. So if we found that da 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 da, so you could find that note. Da, you could, if you needed to, just kind of find it on your guitar, play around till you found it. Da, oh, and once you found it, da, okay, that's the root note. See what note that is? Well, that's an E note. Okay, so you could use the E pentatonic scale. So that's kind of a general way we could try and find the scale for the melody. And so if we're doing this melody, that's the general way you could play a melody, just playing each note one at a time. But if you want to uh, add some more interest to it, let's start with looking at using slides. So you could put a slide in instead of going like that. You could put a slide from that second note to the third note. Probably first thing would be better for that one. So you can try that out instead of try using a slide. Okay, so that's one thing you do. Just try using a slide. You still go one note to the next note, but you just slide up to it. And then let's try a hammer on the next note. So we had, those are the first three notes, or first four notes. So we did slide. Now let's try doing a hammer on. So now instead of, we have, and just that little bit makes that sound a lot more interesting, a lot cooler. We go that too. And then you could do a slide back down instead of, you could go just like that. So we can slide back down. And then we could do a pull off to go to that next note. So we have, so in that one, instead of, we're doing a slide down, and then we're going to pull off, but you can actually do that without picking the note again. Just pick that first note and then pull off right after it. So you slide down and then pull off, just like that. Okay? So we have, and then that last note. So that sounds a lot more interesting. Our original one was, okay, so that's the basics. whenever you're going up, do a slide up, or whenever you're going up, you could do a hammer on up. Whenever you're going down, you could do a slide down, or if you're going down note, you can do a pull off. And another way, let's look at this way too actually, is using bends. So we could, those first few notes up to there, instead of going from this one to that one by playing it, or by sliding, or by hammering on, we could do a bend. And so, depending on where your bending technique is at, if your bending technique is good, then just go ahead and bend it up. And if you're not sure, just a real quick recap. Remember, when you do bends, you do that rotation from the wrist. You want to make sure you do that wrist rotation. And you want to make sure you bend up to the right pitch, the right note. So you want to hear this note. You want to hear that second note there. So you could do a bend there. And then you could go back down. Or you could bend up to that third note, or sorry, the fourth note. And then you could play it again and release the bend back down. So instead of going, we have, so we still had da da da, but now we're going da da da. And again, that bend and release in there. And then, so now we know how to use some bends. And so the thing about bends is just make sure you're bending up however many steps you need. So since that note goes there, make sure you're bending up a whole step. You do a whole step bend. Checking the notes, like we said. So you could do bends and then add in slides too. So you do hammer-ons and then pull-offs. So on that one, you can do that bend up and play it and release, and then do a pull-off right afterwards. So that's a really nice way to do it. So you get a lot more legato sound, a lot smoother sound. You can get all these notes flowing smoothly together more easily than having to play a bunch of notes like that. You can go. So that's the basics of how we do it. So let's take a look at doing that in a few songs. So let's see. Let's try it. Let's try it on Scarborough Fair first. On a melody from Scarborough Fair. So this is like an old folk song, which might seem odd doing it on an electric guitar, but I think it sounds cool. So the melody, let me just check an audio thing here. Let's see. All right. Ooh, we got a little audio thing here. Let me just try and see if I can fix our audio here real quick. Thanks for your patience. Let's just fix our audio. Let's see. All right, just getting some audio issues fixed here. Bad. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay. So okay, sorry about that, guys. So that should still be coming through now. Okay, we're back. All right. So yeah, let's look at doing that on Scarborough Fair. It's kind of cool old folk tune. That's the melody. Or we could play it if you're here on the second string for that note. So if you were just humming that melody, that'd be the root note. And you would find that. Okay, no, it's E. Oh, okay, so E to an E pentatonic. Get a feel if it's a major or minor. Overall feel, overall this is kind of a little bit sad or dark feel, however you want to think of it. So that means it's a minor pentatonic. And then you would just try and find the melody. But you just look for the melody right in the scale. There's almost a lot of melodies, most melodies are in the scale. They might have some notes that are like passing tones or notes that kind of come in and out of the scale, but for the most part, most of those notes will be in the scale. So when you find the melody, okay, then we can start adding in those cool tricks. So instead of going, we would play it there, for that second note there, we could play it with a bend. Doing it from there to there. So we're still going to this note, but we're just going to bend up to it from here. So we're starting here, but we're bending up on that third string. So you just get a whole different sound. And here's the bend. Okay, so we had the next part. Okay, so we go down to there. And that's the next few notes. So instead of just going that fret, 9th, 11th fret, 12th fret, you could bend that one up. That half step bend. So you're bending from here to here. Or if you wanted to, you could slide in and out of it. Or you could do a hammer on pull off. So any one of those works. You just get a little bit different sound each time. Or with the slide. And you can try them differently each time you play it. Use slide one time, use hammer on another time, use bend another time. You can kind of change it up like that. So, and then the end of the melody is right there. So now, instead of, now we have, and the second time too, you might change it up. We could even slide into that last note. That'd be nice. Let's try that. Just change it up all the time. Do a hammer on that time. So yeah, feel free to experiment with that. So that's one example of how you could do that, and that melody there. Let's try it out on another song. So let's see. Let's do it. Let's also try it on If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. So this one, if we had the melody. That's the melody there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Try it again. So that's the melody. Some people want diamonds, some just want everything. So if that's your melody, let's first make sure we got the melody. Okay, so let's see how we could add some bend, hammer-ons, and all that in that one. So this is the first few notes. Let's see what we could do there. So going to the second and the third note, that note on the second string, that's the same as this note here, which is still in the pentatonic. These notes are all in the pentatonic, the minor, E minor pentatonic. Well, just like we saw on all these other examples, we could slide up to that one if we want. So that sounds nice. Or we could bend up to it. Or we could do a hammer-on. You can even hammer on each time you play it. Do fast slides. Do multiple bends. So all kinds of ways you could do it. Okay, and then, so that's the first few notes. Then jumps up to that one, which is still in the pentatonic. So let's see, how could we get there? So we just did. So we ended here. We want to go there. Well, it depends on how we got there. If we got up there by sliding, I think you just go that way, right in the scale shape. But if we got there by bending, we can just get it that way. So we stay bent. You almost get a little country sound there. Right, so it's a little bit countryish. But you can do that here and it sounds really nice. So instead of, we have, okay, and you just kind of catch it with your pinky. So you got that third string bent up to that note on the second string in the pentatonic. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. Okay, and then the next notes are. So what's some way we can make that interesting? We could do bends again. We could bend up and then bend and release. Yeah, just like that, just like bend and release. You could do hammer on to a pull off. Do slides. That's kind of nice. The slide is kind of smooth sounding. I kind of like this idea. Can add a little extra in there. A little ornamentation. So basically you have, so that's another one you could do there. You could do a normal bend and release, or you could bend up and then play it again and do a real quick release, and you get this kind of sound. That's kind of a cool sound to do. And to do that, you have it bent up here. And right after you play it, when it's still bent, you release it really quick. You almost, yeah, you just let it release real quick instead of a normal release. It's like almost like a grace note release, you might think of it. You're just going real quick. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. Oh. Yeah, so that's a lot nicer than. It's a lot cooler to have it like this. Or. Okay. And then we have. Yeah, so then the next part of the melody is. So we could do that a different way. We could go some nice grace note slides. So instead of we could grace note slide, quick, then that means a quick slide. First note is very short up to the second note. Just like that. So you can do a couple of those instead of you could do a okay. So let's see what we got. Yeah, so we got those two slides up, and then you can do a grace note slide down. That almost has the same sound as this one. Grace note slide down. So you can do that grace note slide down, and then pull off. There's a nice smooth way to get there. Oh. So we have those slides up and then a grace note slide down and a pull off. So that's a lot nicer than just, right? We can make it. Okay, so let's put together what we have so far. Yeah, so now you almost feel like Alicia Keys is starting to sing it. So that's a little bit more soulful and kind of, you know, fun and ornamented and really get the feel of it. Okay, and then the last part, last three notes. Da, da, da. So we know what to do there. We could do some hammer on to a slide, hammer on a slide. That's one cool way to do it. Or we could do it like we did before. We know if we're going here to here, that could be a bend. And then this note here, you could just catch with your pinky. Or just, you know, a lot of times other people might play it with the first two fingers. So you do it that way too. I kind of like using the pinky, but both ways are good. Both ways work. Okay, so let's see where we have all the way from the beginning. Well, let's do that part we just did. Okay, so then let's put it all together. Okay, so now it sounds like a solo, right? Now it really sounds like you're making it sing. You're not just playing the melody, but you're making it sing. Because like I like to always remind everybody that you're trying to make the guitar sound like your voice, sound like a voice, the good voice that you're trying to imitate. So because the guitar, even though it's got strings, it's really a vocal instrument. You're trying to make it sing. So all these little things, bends, slides, and all those things are great at making it sing. Because if a vocalist is singing, they're doing those same kind of things. They'll be sliding up notes and bending, and they could do like hammer on. So they could do all those. You could think of it. They could do that. They're doing all those similar kind of things that we're trying to imitate when we're doing the guitar. Okay. All right. So maybe we can look at one more melody here. Let's see. See what we've got. Let's do "Take Me Home, Country Roads." We did folk, we did soul. Let's do country. Let's try and just get all over the place. The only thing we didn't do is rock, but that's okay. All right. So let's do "Take Me Home, Country Roads." So this one, if you hum the melody, eventually you'll find that it's in A major. Take me home, country roads. Okay, take me home, country roads, to the place I belong. Okay, so you just find the melody. Since we're almost out of time, we won't go over that part, but just like you do in the other ones, you find the root note, then you can find the pentatonic scale, and since this one has like that major happy feel, you know it's a major pentatonic, and you just try and find melody in the pentatonic shape, because 9 times out of 10 it's just going to be right in that shape. And then once you have the melody, then let's look at putting on hammer-ons and all those cool expressive devices. So when we had the melody, we had. Oh wait, hold on. I'm thinking of the last melody. Hold on. Okay, so that's the first few notes, right? Da, da, da. So if we want to make that cooler, we could do some slide downs and then a pull off because it's already kind of set up for that, right? So instead of we have. And when you do grace note slides, that also makes it sound countryish. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Or if we're starting here, we could start at that note from this pre-bent note here. Let's find it here. Here it is. So that's the note. So you could start there and bend and release it. So start with it pre-bent, and then release it, and then go down to that note. That's got a cool country sound too, especially if you do almost like that kind of grace note release. And so instead of just a kind of nice middle, and you can do a pull off actually after that release of the bend. That makes it even more smooth. Okay, so that's how we got that first part. And then the next part of the melody goes same thing almost, just back up to this note. Da, 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 da. So we do a similar kind of thing. But now we just got this last note, so you can hammer on to it if you want. Or you can slide up to it. So I kind of like the hammer on. So let's put that all together. Okay, so that's starting to sound pretty cool. And then we have so what can we do there? We can do the bends again. And then this note up here, we can catch on the pinky, just like we did on the If I Ain't Got You song. Right? So there's a couple ways you could do that. You could do the bend up, back to that one, or you could do that grace note slide up. That one's still pretty good too. I like the bend. Okay, so let's start from the beginning again. Okay, then the last two notes. Where I belong. So that's that part. Okay, so if we're going here, well, this note could be this note bent up, like we found out. Oh, let's find it there. There it is. So that note, going to this note. Well, we know that note you can just catch with your pinky. And now we're just going up here. Well, that note is just a whole step above this note that we just ended on. Right? So here to here, whole step. So you could just bend it up a full step. So that's another way you could do that one. So let's try that from the beginning. Okay, yeah, so that's basically an overall approach you can use. Just find the melody, make sure you can play the melody, and then just add in some hammer-ons, pull-offs, bends, slides, depending on if you're going up or down to the note, and just kind of work your way in and out of the note, same notes, but just kind of work your way in using any of those techniques. So I hope you guys have fun with that. Go ahead and leave any comments or questions that you have, anything you had questions about in this workshop, and anything you want to see me go over at another workshop, because these workshops are made for you guys. And I hope you have a good time practicing, and we'll see you next time.